Okay. Excellent. So let's call the meeting to order. Please disclose any pecuniary interest at the appropriate time. We welcome all of our YouTube channel viewers. I'll move on to 4, which is correspondence. We have none. We have no delegations tonight, and we will actually move right to 6B, and I'll hand it over to Teresa for that.
Thanks, Councillor White. So tonight I have the pleasure of introducing our latest hire, a new position, Parks, Recreation and Facilities Assistant, Katie Faulkner. So Katie's joining us tonight. Some of you may have met her possibly yesterday when you're out at the rink. If not, Katie started with us on September 13th. It's a work in progress right now where everybody is working at the arena. Right now, Katie's in the office in the same boardroom as I am, but you will eventually find her in the press box on the west side of the building, because Steve will be moving back downstairs into his regular office. And then as we expand, we'll be moving into the Parks and Rec office in the new addition. So as the Parks, Rec and Facilities Assistant, Katie is assisting with everything administratively. So learning ice bookings, facility rentals, helped us out yesterday with a small event. So it's sort of soup to nuts right now, but Katie's very much welcome, and she stepped right into the position, no problem, because we've said our theme in Parks and Rec is flexibility and adaptability, and that's how we have to live every day these days, not just with COVID, but also with construction. So I just wanted to welcome Katie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Part of the team.
Great. Great. Thanks, Teresa. We'll move on to 6A then, and we'll stay with you and go on to the Parks and Rec update.
Thank you. So some of this information may be outdated because the report is done the week before. So as you're all aware that as of September 1st, the province announced that proof of vaccination would be required as of September 22nd. The impact that it had on Parks and Rec at that time was with our hall rentals. And at the time now, they are doing it for their own rentals. We didn't have the resources for security, and it's challenging to have someone come in for 15 minutes before the rental to check. So far, it's been working. Mask screening, contact tracing, and physically distancing continue to remain in place in indoor settings. So as it said here, Watford Community Arena is scheduled to open with partial capacity on October 12th. I'm very pleased to share that the schedule plan happened. So we opened yesterday under partial capacity. So we have old dressing rooms 1, 2, and 3 that have been repainted, but there's still work to be done. We're using the flex space as dressing room 4 with curtains, and they are using the universal washroom in the lobby space. We do not have men's and women's washrooms yet, or the staff space completed, nor do we have the new 3 dressing rooms completed or the universal dressing room. But some of you had an opportunity to pop by yesterday to see what it's like to be opening under partial capacity and while still being under construction. So I am very pleased to say that staff, our staff, Parks and Rec staff, as well as the contractors and the architect engineers worked very hard to make this date. And we were on date also with starting ice making on October 4th. It hasn't been without some challenges. We are down 1 dehumidifier. We were down 2, which makes it almost impossible to make ice. We were able to get parts, and the contractor was able to fix 1 dehumidifier, but the other one we are still waiting for parts. So it's beautiful weather right now. Unfortunately, it's not great weather for making ice or keeping ice. And so condensation is an issue. So we do have very large fans that are currently running to assist with that. And those will be in place until we get the second dehumidifier running. And then the reopening plan for the arena. We first met with our primary ice users, I want to think it was 2 weeks ago. And then it went to EOC the following week, where the plan was accepted and then sent out to the ice users with regards to how we're opening, not only with construction requirements or restrictions, but also with COVID restrictions at this time. And so far last night was our first night. It worked out okay. And one of the things is, and I may be jumping around, and I apologize, is that the idea for the Watford Community Arena would be that we would have third-party security checking proof of vaccination and ID. It was very challenging to find anyone, but a source helped me out in the 11th hour yesterday, and we do have a permanent vendor contractor that is providing that service. They are in full uniform. They're provided instructions by me and samples of everything that they need to know. And so they are at the rink half an hour before the first ice rental. And then they leave when the last ice rental starts. Because at that point, we're hoping that everyone is in the building. So yeah, so very, very, I don't know how it all happened, but everything aligned up and we were able to open yesterday.
Teresa?
Yeah.
Are we operating the same as Brook, where they lock the doors 5 minutes after start of the game?
Similar. So what we're doing is, so we have sliding doors at the front, and so maybe it's the same thing, but different terminology. We shut them off. So if there was an emergency, you can still break open. We can't lock them per se, but yeah. So what security does is they have an ice schedule and who's coming in at what time. So they know to look for a user, and then when that ice time starts, they can turn it off. They can still get some stragglers, but they also are required, you can probably appreciate through employee legislation, breaks in there too. So there may be times that they step aside for a break and they just turn off the power to the sliding door. And then we are very fortunate that we have a washroom right there too for that individual to use.
Yeah, that's what Brook's doing, is they basically lock the crash bars, and you still can exit, but you can't get in.
Get in, yep.
And
very similar.
open up 20 minutes before the next.
What we're doing, John, is, I didn't hear quite your question, but I think I understood it, is that rentals are permitted to be in 15 minutes before, but we've asked them to come 30 minutes before so that we can check vaccination. So in actual fact, if we get them through and the dressing room is ready, they can go in the dressing room. It's just that we're on really limited, tight, with 3 dress rooms and a flex space. So that restriction is only because of limited space. It doesn't have anything to do with COVID this year.
Okay. Great.
There's 3 dress rooms that have showers, so the showers may be used, and the fourth ones are just the extra dress room. They're out of luck, right? Just for now.
Just for now. And I should qualify that too, is that when we met with the user groups, like following that, I did get some feedback, and the only times that really affected would be like for Sunday night hockey, where you have like 3 or 4 games in a row, because the user groups have been really good where they have ice other places. We've highly encouraged them to schedule their games in their other facilities for now. So the choice on Sunday nights would be using flex space without a dressing room, but you do have a washroom, or we'd have to schedule 35 minutes between games. And it was opted that they much prefer not having to schedule time between games. So we've done that for entire schedule. It's a normal ice schedule. There's no time breaks in between.
Sounds good. And the bar won't be open for the Sunday night hockey, right?
Yes, it will be.
Oh, will be for the Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I apologize, Martina. I know you've had your hand up.
Oh, sorry, Martina.
Yes, so we staged the reopening. We did the rink part, and this week we still had some painting left to do upstairs and some other work, and it'll probably still be ongoing, but it will be cleaned this week, the hall upstairs, ICANN is moving over from Centennial Hall, or after school program, and that has to do with a conflict in scheduling with another group at Centennial Hall. And we're looking to start pickleball back up, and it'll be ready for October 17th. I've already had meetings with the Optimist, a representative from the Optimist Club, about running the bar. We just have to confirm with Sunday Night Hockey that that's what they want to do.
Okay. Yeah, I got a text from Brad today wondering if the bar would be open. So, Brad Jackson.
I would highly encourage you to say to him to follow up with me.
Okay, I will tell him that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We will be following up with him, but yeah, for those type of questions, absolutely.
Yeah, Martina, you had a question?
Yeah, so I just have some major concerns about the one parent per kids who are 5 and under. So it's sort of a multifaceted thing. One, what about kids who have special needs and or medical issues who are over 5? 2, how safe is it to have unsupervised kids in a construction zone? 3, releasing kids out on that busy road, potentially in the dark, where you don't know where their parents are, is a concern. And the 4th one is now, because you just told me the bar can be open for Sunday Night Hockey, but we can't let parents in with kids. This is hugely concerning for me. And I'm going to tell you, my phone has been blowing up for a week.
So, okay. So Martina, that was a lot of questions there. I can tell you, I have not received one concern from user groups with regards to 5 and under. When we had the user group meeting, it was originally no spectators. And if you remember last year when we opened, because of COVID reasons, we had no spectators. And we went probably, I think, almost 2 months without spectators. So it's not unknown to us, opening a building without spectators. When we had the meeting, the concern was for little ones, because last year they chose not to offer, say, like a learn to skate, can skate program for 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. Those were the ages that were mentioned when we reviewed it with the primary ice users. So that's when we looked at it and said, okay, 5 and under. So now you're looking at grade 1 and above would be coming in without a parent. And we did the exact same thing last year. Sorry, okay. Another question of yours with regards to if there is a child that requires, like has a disability. Was that one of your questions?
Yeah, there would be user groups who have kids who have special needs, who may not be navigating the building. And there's also groups who have kids who have medical conditions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they would need someone to be with them.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with them, because what we did last year is I just asked the user groups to come to me, like sort of on a case-by-case basis, to let us know if they had those a situation like that. And that's a completely different, yeah, that would not be, that situation would be accommodated, because we did it last year. Okay.
So is there a reason why we can have people in the bar Sunday night upstairs, but we can't let parents up there when their kids are on the ice?
2 reasons. 1, we have rentals upstairs, and 2, we have full bathrooms up there. So yes, we can have regular rentals up there. I've not had anybody request rentals upstairs for spectators. We do have other things that are going on, but user groups can feel free to request, just like they did last year. That'll be starting next week.
And I'm a little bit confused about you stating you haven't heard from any groups, because I know in particular one group asked to be a delegate tonight and we're told they couldn't. So there's definitely concerns that have been voiced.
So I can't speak to that particular group, but they did speak at the meeting that they were concerned about the 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. They have not issued any concerns directly to Parks and Rec, so I wouldn't be able to respond to those. And I think the last question you had, Martina, was about the parking lot. And I know last year you had concerns because we parked in that area. So the lighting was increased. It's the same exit as we used in 2020, a year ago when we opened up. The lighting was increased last year, and this year We've completely opened up on the west side of the door to where handicap parking is. It is completely no parking in that area. There are pylons and it is spray painted with orange. So they will not be walking out into vehicles. It is completely blocked off.
So if you have, like, what is the capacity limit based on the bathroom? Like, my understanding is the reason that we're at lower capacity is because of the bathrooms.
Yeah,
So
we're
what's
waiting
the
for the
actual capacity limit for the bathroom facilities that we have?
we would be at, I think it's 50%. I'd have to go back to the engineer because it's based on a matrix. And I think the other thing, so I wouldn't be able to answer that specifically right now. I'd have to get more information. But I think it's important to note though, too, this is a very temporary issue. We're talking possibly 2 weeks, like the end of October, that this will be solved and that spectators will be allowed in at that time.
Well, I mean, I think that theoretically it's temporary, but almost everything has been delayed. So people are worried, right? And I think, I think the communication was, I think there was some communication issues. When the community heard the ice will be ready on October 12th, they heard the arena is going to be, with the exception of COVID, the arena is going to be used as it should be on October 12th. So I think we missed the mark with communication with the community around what actually was going to happen. Because like literally everywhere I go, I have heard people and concerns from people. So I really think that the municipality as a whole needs to reconsider and maybe up their communication game a bit, because people, that's not what people expected. They expected to be able to use the arena.
So, and I can say, Martina, that in our meetings with user groups and the information that was sent out, it's always been that we were opening with partial capacity. Because we were not going to be like having regular dress rooms. We had never issued that.
But did we explain what partial capacity was right from the beginning, or did we wait till right before and then say, okay, this is what partial capacity looks like? Because people don't understand partial. Yeah. Like if you think,
fair enough.
If you think about, if you're, you know, someone who's not in this world and you think about the arena and you think about what the max capacity of the arena is, and then you think about partial capacity, you think, oh, okay, so, you know, there'll be, you know, every player can have one parent, or you like, you're not thinking, oh, I'm going to be banned from the arena again, like I was for COVID in the beginning.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, and we can certainly look at that for sure.
I think it was communicated to our user groups, and the expectation was the user groups would have communicated that to their people. So I think, you know, there's communication maybe needs to be improved along the whole system. Thank you. And Wayne, your question.
I also have a lot of calls, the same as Martina has. My question is, because it's a washroom situation, why can't we bring in a temporary washroom, porta potty or whatever, so we can let these people in? I'm like Martina, I'm not going to drop a 6-year-old off at the arena and say, see you in an hour. I think that's ridiculous. I don't agree with it. And I think we should bring in temporary washroom facility to solve this problem.
We could look at that. Definitely. We can look at that. So I just want to comment about the reopening plan. So each time we've written one of these, and there has been a lot, it is vetted by the EOC before it becomes formalized. So we could look at something like temporary washrooms, absolutely. If that's what the EOC would want to do for the coming 2 weeks, we can definitely look at that.
Teresa, I'm skeptical on the 2 weeks. A year ago right now, we sat here and the arena was going to be 100% completed in August. Now we're into October, and I want to wait and see that these bathrooms are finished in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think we need to get these portable washrooms in bring it up to the number of people can go in with their kids and show that we're showing that we're supportive of these groups. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. All right, continue on, Teresa.
Sure. Just with regards to, so now we're on page 3, because I think we covered everything. Yep. The Watford, Warwick Parks and Downtown. So the Legion banners were installed for National Legion Week, which was September 19th to the 25th this year. And the drumhead service was hosted locally by the Watford Legion, and it was on September 19th. According to President Tony, everything went very well, and the number of banners has increased significantly this year. So the Legion banners will remain up until November 11th, and then after November 11th, we'll be taking them down and putting our Christmas decorations up.
Teresa,
Yeah,
just a quick, who's storing those? Is that the Legion? Are they
the banners,
Yeah.
we've been storing them for them.
Oh, okay.
And all of the hardware, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
With regards to the ballpark, so we're still, for those of you who aren't aware, council did provide a directive to move the netting system that was intended for Warwick to go to Watford Ball Diamond. There is some negotiations with the vendor on that, and we still are waiting for Hydro One with regards to, it's called a Class B, so they're going to give us a schedule and costing on what we need to do for health and safety at the Warwick Diamond. So right now, our fencing is considered too high for in proximity of the hydro wire that goes across, hydro line, and we definitely can't put up any protective netting and poles at this time. So I believe the best option we're looking at is burying the line. And so I'm just waiting for those costings to come back. Okay. Concession, we have everything we need. We've got the building permit, everything's been built. We're still just waiting on the concession leaseholders' electrical requirements. It's part of a bigger project, and so it's very important for us to understand all their needs. So I will be following up with them again because the vendor, you can probably appreciate, really wants to get this done. The library and Watford Museum, we're still reviewing the engineer's assessment of each of the buildings. We do have an additional drawing. So now that we've hit mile mark 1 of reopening the arena, we'll be putting those through and just waiting for Spreet will be giving us specifications. I believe it's for, I'm still waiting for the library to be able to put out for quotes to do the repairs that need to be done at this point. And again, it's nothing like the building's not going to fall down. None of the buildings are going to fall down. Martina's pleased to know that. But there are some things that have to be done before we can do the next thing. And so I'm hoping that we can get this done, or at least get it out for quotes this fall. The arena expansion to community center. So construction progress, this was as of last week. So what you will be looking at for the partial opening of the community arena. And we did hit all those mile marks. We didn't get, you'll notice possibly in the old dressing rooms, we didn't get the new sinks in, so the old sinks were reinstalled. And those dressing rooms have been painted. It was all cleaned, construction cleaning, so that's part of the project. They did the cleaning on Saturday so that we could open on Tuesday. So now we're moving forward for the next part of the next critical date, which I put out there to our site construction meeting yesterday, which is December 7th. That'll be the next critical date for the dress rooms to be completed. They're scheduled to be completed the end of November and then cleaned. We'll have another cleaning so that we're prepared for Watford Silver Stick. So that's the next big milestone that we'll be looking at. Obviously the washrooms first, but then the dressing rooms to get those done. The Parks, Recreation, Tourism, and Culture Master Plan was accepted by council at a special council meeting on September 30th. For anybody who's interested, it is posted on the township website. There's, I can't even remember how many recommendations, maybe 48. There's quite a few recommendations, but take a look at that. A lot of those things are already in progress, but working with finance to figure out, you know, how these things are all going to get done, and with council.
Martina?
I was just wondering, I may have missed something, but before I did attend that special council meeting.
Yeah.
But I didn't receive the plan ahead of time. So I didn't feel prepared to ask questions because I hadn't read the plan.
Oh, it was included in the agenda package that was sent out to you.
Okay, I don't know that I got one for that meeting, but I'll look back and see.
Okay.
I was like, maybe that's what happened. Because I was like, oh, I should have read this, but I haven't seen it. So it was hard to ask questions because I didn't know what was in it, but I will go back and look, and maybe I do have it buried in there somewhere. Thank you.
But if not, Martina, feel free, everyone, to take a look at it on our township website, because now that's the final plan and draft's been taken off of it. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, follow up with me directly.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Great, thank you.
Okay, staff, we've already welcomed Katie tonight. Welcome again, Katie. So we are in the process of hiring a full and part-time recreation laborers. The positions have closed, and we're trying to schedule interviews. I was hoping for this week, but it probably look like next week. These are not new positions, they're existing positions. We just had one of our recreation laborers change status, going from full-time to part-time. So it opened up some space for new hires, or hiring within. So we'll be working on filling those positions. And last but not least, I wanted to congratulate Cody George, one of our full-time recreation laborers. He recently achieved status as an Ontario Parks Association registered playground practitioner. So now we have 2 on staff, 1 part-time and 1 full-time staff members that can do playground inspections. So excited about that. Yeah, little baby steps, but we're getting there to where everything is getting into place. It's still going to take a while, especially with the new building opening, but yeah. Parks and Recreation, lots on the go, lots happening.
Excellent. John?
Yeah, I just forgot this question a little earlier. What's the plan for mums and tots and public skating during the next month or so?
So right now, thanks for asking that, John. Right now, our on-ice programs are on hold because I'm finalizing up the ice schedule, but generally speaking, where we had public skating before, to accommodate an ice user, we've given them part of that ice time, but we are looking at it. I'm hoping that by December, we have something in place. It's also a matter of, we then have to do vaccination checks for those programs. So us as a township will have to do those. And one thing I should have mentioned too, with regards to COVID restrictions, OMHA, and I'm not sure if OWHA, but a minor hockey, they're required to have a shutdown between Christmas and New Year's. So those groups are required to have a break during that period. So we will be looking at hopefully booking some private rentals in there and doing some public skating.
Yeah, because after 60 years, we've moved Silver Stick from between Christmas and New Year's. We've always had it's down to the, what do we have, December 9th to the 12th, 16th to the 19th. So it's moved up. And it looks like our numbers are a lot better this year than they have been in the last few years. So that's good.
Unfortunately, International Silver Stick will not be using Watford Community Arena this year. It was all booked, but US teams will not be permitted to play in Canada, so they will not be requiring the same ice time that they would normally have.
Yeah. So Teresa, back to the public skating. So it's usually from noon till 12 to 1, or right?
Yeah,
12?
I haven't looked at the times. Yeah.
I know it used to be an hour and a half, but I think even if you had an hour, that's plenty. And I think it's important for the community to have some ice time for public skaters anyway. So
yeah, no, definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
And not just for public skaters, but across the board, like, looking at Shinny, Tiny Tots. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And any other questions? If not, is there anything else that others would like to bring up? Wayne? Yeah.
Teresa, I'm still getting questions regarding the fundraising, when it's going to start to the open public. People want to get their donations in this tax year.
They will hear an announcement in just over a week.
Okay.
Okay, it'll become more evident.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? And no other questions? Seeing none, can I have a mover and a seconder for adjournment? Wayne? And Martina? Okay, all in favor, and John? Thank you. And